Hi, everybody. Dr. Duc Vuong here, world famous bariatric surgeon. Today, I am going to talk about should your teenager get the COVID vaccination? A lot of people believe, well, this is really an old person's disease. The bad outcomes come with the older people, the young kids, they do fine. Why should they get vaccinated? Well, there are lots of times in life. It's a weird thing because you know, there are lots of states, many states, many counties that require your kids to have like MMR, chickenpox vaccine. And people are like, okay, fine. Yeah, they need it for school. No big deal, right? Polio vaccine. You have a very few people who try to object to it. But for the most part, if you want your kids in school, you get them vaccinated against these other vaccines, right? And but so the hesitancy when it comes to the coronavirus one, the SARS, I'll be more specific, right? The SARS-CoV-2 vaccination is a little puzzling to me. Like, why does that matter, right? So I want to address some of the objections. First of all, let me tell you that the date matters, right? Today's May 12th. Yesterday, May 11th, the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine down to 12 years to 15 years old, right? So basically, anyone as young as 12 years old can now get a Pfizer shot. Well, today, the CDC panel will review all the data, and then the director of the CDC's is is expected to approve it. And technically, after today, once the CDC approves it, then you're able to vaccinate anyone as young as 12 with a Pfizer vaccine. You can go to a pediatrician's office, you can go to a pharmacy, and there's already some places that have already started yesterday vaccinating teenagers. The other thing you need to know is that the dosage is the same as an adult. So it's the two schedule shots, 21 days apart, and same dosage as an adult, right? That seems to be what's effective. Now, some objections. People go, well, but Dr. Vuong, like, why should my teenager get vaccinated? We know it's an old person's disease. If they catch it, they get over it really easily, et cetera, right? You've heard these objections. Comment if you know someone who thinks this way, who says, the young kids, they it's like nothing but a bad cold for them. They'll get over it. Well, let me tell you a couple facts. Um, First fact is this: there have been kids as young as 2 or 3 years old that have died from coronavirus. Now, you might want to believe that it's conspiracy, that it's not really accurate. They actually died in a car wreck and they were all, labeled COVID. Like, okay, whatever, motherfucker. First of all, that's against the law. No doctor's doing that. You can believe that conspiracy all you want, but that's not how coding deaths work, right? So it's really insulting to our healthcare professionals for people who to say stuff like that. So first of all, I would normally call you a motherfucker, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to ask you to kindly be considerate and understand that when you say stuff like, "Oh yeah, they all got coded, called COVID when they had a car wreck," it doesn't work that way. No doctor is going to lose his license or get in trouble because of that, right? And it's really insulting to the healthcare professionals that you rely on for your healthcare, your blood pressure meds, your little blue pill, Uncle Billy, and your cancer treatments, take care of your mom, your dad, your kids. Suddenly, this pandemic hits and we've just lost our minds and we seem to think the worst of these healthcare professionals, which is crazy to me. So, fact, we know that young kids have died from catching COVID. COVID's the disease. SARS-CoV-2 is the virus, right? So, from catching SARS-CoV-2, developing COVID, and then subsequently dying. So, I'll be very accurate in saying that. Now, if you also look at the current numbers from the American Society of Pediatrics, a year ago, kids made up 3% of the cases. So not zero, 3% of the cases. So you are accurate when you say, well, mostly older people caught it. And if you're older, you're at higher risk. That was true a year ago. Fast forward to today, to March numbers, April numbers, kids make up 20% of the new COVID cases are now kids, pediatrics, right? And that's a significant increase. To go from 3% to 20% is a big increase. Why is this happening? Well, we know we prioritize vaccinating the elderly. The elderly, generationally speaking, will listen to their healthcare professionals and leaders. And so the older population generally has been trying to play safe because they know they were higher risk. They probably stayed at home, probably wore masks. Obviously, you have a few that don't, but for the most part, they've taken it a lot more seriously. So their numbers are going down. And then the population that we thought, could handle it, their caseload has increased up to 20%. Okay. So now that we're having more cases, we can develop better data and number, just like understanding that proportionately the number of cases in teenagers is going up. So people will sit there and go, well, Dr. Vuong, why should I take it? You don't know the long-term effects of the vaccine. Well, motherfucker, I just did it. I didn't mean to do that. No, like, good human being, I know you're a good guy, whatever. So it's only been a year. Of course, no one knows the long-term effects. So when you sit there and say, you don't know the long-term effects, you're just really showing, like, duh, it's not brilliant, right? It's only been, in the pandemic, has been a year. Of course, we don't know the long-term effects. But I would counter with that by saying that even though the vast majority of teenagers who do catch COVID do recover, I will throw it back at you and say, we don't know the long-term effects of COVID on teenagers. We do know from the data last year, since we've been in the pandemic for a year, that people who survived COVID, like they recovered, 30% of people who recovered from COVID, who didn't die from COVID, up to 30% have lasting effects. So the long haulers. And there's also a scale on the long haulers. Some are really debilitated. Some are young, healthy people that can't breathe, can't jog, can't run, can't ride their bikes. We know they have brain fog. We know they have myocarditis. We know that there's some kidney disease. They're just chronically fatigued. So we know that in 30s and 40-year-olds that were previously healthy, they have long hauler syndrome. So now I can't guarantee that, but it's within reason to think that if you're going to let your teenager recover from COVID, just understand that there's a chance, there's a good chance that there will be a teenager long hauler classification, so that your teenager, other than just being a normal dickhead, will really be chronically fatigued, will really suffer from brain fog, will really have trouble focusing. It's not ADD, it's not ADHD. It really could be a consequence of having recovered from COVID. So just think about that. When I, as a parent, weigh the risk and benefits of not knowing the long-term effects of the vaccine, although we know the efficacy of the vaccine, we know that it's 100% effective in keeping you alive. We know it's 94% effective in preventing you from getting COVID, not catching SARS-CoV-2. No vaccines keep you from catching chickenpox virus or polio virus, but 94% from you developing the disease of COVID or the disease of polio or the disease of smallpox, right? And it's 100% effective in keeping you alive. We do know that. We know that right now. And could there be a time in the future when, it turns out that you have these sort of symptoms or whatever. Yes, of course there is. But quite honestly, very highly unlikely. Much more likely that there will be long hauler syndrome. Like I said, 30% of people who survived COVID, up to 30%, have long hauler syndrome. And we have yet to know how long it lasts. So somebody's going to say, well, how long is that going to last for? We don't fucking know yet. That's what's called science. That's statistics. That's why we look it up. That's why we wait for it. So to clarify a couple of things, because some people make comments and make assumptions and say bullshit stuff. So I'd love for you who watch me regularly to just answer some of these assholes for me. Yes, I got vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated. I got the Moderna dose twice. Yes, my family's gotten it. Erica's gotten it. Her mom's gotten it. The grandmothers have gotten it. We did fine. I don't have a tail. I didn't grow a second head. No, my DNA's not changed. I did a video on that the other day. And number two, no, I don't get paid. No it's illegal. You can't. The things that people say is just ridiculous. I do not get paid for promoting the vaccine. I do not. It's against the law. It would be a kickback. It's completely illegal. You lose your license. There's none of that. So the fact that these idiots ask that question or doubt that or suspect that or whatever, it's just ludicrous. Just completely off base, just completely ludicrous, okay? Now, when it comes to my own daughters, I'm just like you. I got 2 babies and 2 baby mamas, okay? So my first relationship, her mom, she and I were together 18 years. We have a lovely 14-year-old daughter. And so she now qualifies, assuming the CDC passes this today. I'll just get with her mom. And her mom's fully vaccinated. Her mom's new husband's fully vaccinated. He's higher risk. Her mother is fully vaccinated. So the whole clan's vaccinated. The only one that's really exposed is my 14-year-old daughter. So I'll just talk to her mom and be like, what do you think? And I'm pretty sure her mom will say yes, get her vaccinated. She'll get vaccinated. And I'll be like, I agree. But my 4-year-old, not really, probably not necessary. And I've done videos on this in the past. You can go back and look at my videos when I talk about school-aged children. The 10 years old and younger, really, they're not really vectors. Which takes me to the last reason about teenagers getting vaccinated. Okay, so the last argument, I'll try it again. Oh, but they don't get sick. They recover. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's not true. But all right, let me explain it a different way to see if this will make more sense to you. From the South Korean data, we know that kids like 12 to 21 years old, they are the super spreaders. They are the primarily the ones that are spreading COVID because their immune system is strong. They have the virus inside them for longer periods of time, up to 2 weeks before they start showing symptoms. So they've spread it to classmates. There are multi-generations that live together, so grandmothers, grandfathers. So you can choose not to have your teenager vaccinated. Just understand that they are the super spreaders. They are more likely to have it in their nose, kiss grandma and grandpa, or a younger sibling who is immune compromised, a mom who's going through breast cancer therapy, a grandmom who's going through a lymphoma therapy, and or going to school or campuses or parties. I went to college. I know how it is. Just understand that they are the primary vectors. Okay, they are the super spreaders. Now, I've given you very good reasons. You don't want to do it. That's on you. You want to possibly have your teenager bring home coronavirus and infect you or your mother. That's on you. That's fine. I'm just telling you what we know today in terms of the science and the numbers and what have y'all. All right. If you have found this video helpful, please hit the share button. I would appreciate it. I go live every single day for the month of May because I made a promise to my following I would do that. Usually at 9 a.m., except for Wednesdays, I'll go live around 12:15, 12:20. Okay? And as always, I will edit this down and put it the shorter version minus the push-ups on my YouTube channel. I hope you'll subscribe, and we'll just keep going as these conditions change. Listen, I'm just like you. I want to get over this. I don't want to have to wear a mask, but I know that I'm going to have to for the remainder of the year, 2021, until we get enough people vaccinated that we can have relative confidence. It's never 100%, but relative risk reduction so that you can go without a mask indoors. We're just not there yet, because exactly what we're trying to overcome right now, which is vaccination hesitancy, conspiracy theories, and all this other bullshit stuff that people are trying to say in these comments. And if you don't agree with me, don't fucking follow me. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just telling you, that's just the truth. As always, love you. Be awesome. Be great. Be kind to each other.